the data, the indicators show a certain improvement as far as some particular indicators are concerned if you compare year on year. And that is the basis for the assertion by the managers of the economy that we're coming out of that dark space and that the future looks bright and promising.
So you see, Randy, it's really not a conversation about just looking at the data. I think that we need to have a more comprehensive understanding of what is happening. Randy, first of all, we got here because, you see, a group of people got power and decided that they'll use the benefit of that power to enrich themselves.
They didn't invent COVID.
Not the COVID.
They didn't produce COVID.
I'll deal with COVID.
They didn't produce Russia-Ukraine.
Randy, what you should understand is that by 2019, government itself has acknowledged that the economy was not doing well. So itself had put in place a 40-member committee or so as to how to resolve the depreciation of the city. That's an acknowledgement that even as at that time, there were problems or challenges with the economy. But the point I'm making is that, listen, in the space of 5 years, right, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration went into the Eurobond market and within the space of 5 years took $13 billion worth of Eurobond. If you isolate the 2.25 billion Franklin Templeton bonds, at least you are still left with $11 billion worth of bonds within the space of 5 years. That started our problem with the fact that we're no longer in position to service those debts. And therefore, on the 1st of July 2022, we have to run to the IMF in an ambulance. That started the problem that we are having today. Now, I have heard my brother here say that, look, we should applaud government because today, right, we are going to see a situation where the IMF is going to give us $360 million. And so they have done well. So we should applaud them. Randy, if my calculations are right, okay, we are talking about $360 million. But just oppose that against the fact that within the same period that we're looking desperately for $360 million from the IMF, we were spending $250 million to build a new head office for BOG. We are also looking at another $250 million to organize a sponsoring program. We have, hold on, Randy, I'm coming.
The BOG that we are recapitalizing.
Can you imagine? So that's the point I'm making. That at the time when you go to the IMF, cap in hand, you had $250 million to build a new head office. You had $250 million to organize a sporting program. You have $58 million to dig the deepest hole. That alone gives you $558 million. The problem has never been the question of lack of funds in this country. It's always about the priority of Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. You had the benefit, in fact, the most resourced government. Randy, if you pick the fact that from 2017 to date, if you look at tax revenue, borrowed funds, grants put together, we are dealing with $132 billion. That's how much came into the hands of Akufo-Addo and Bawumia.
Cedis or dollars?
Dollars. Randy, you are shocked. $132 billion.
Cedis or dollars?
Dollars. In cedi terms, that's $912 billion. Oh, you are shocked. Do you know that tax revenue alone,
yes, in
the past 6 years had given this government 412 billion Ghana cedis, tax revenue alone.
Okay.
Now $13 billion by Eurobond, do plus the exchange rate. If you put all together, we are dealing with 132 billion. That's how much you have gotten in the space of 7 years. And with all this envelope of financial resources, we are back to the IMF, cap in hand. Randy, do you know that the most painful IMF program that we have entered into since 1966 is the one entered into by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia.
How so?
And I'll demonstrate to you. As we speak, by reason of this IMF program, if you recall, we're supposed to even place VAT on electricity. The only reason why the MPP took a political decision to withdraw that tax compensation is because of the election ahead of us. Nothing more, nothing else. In fact, if you look at the initial release, it was clear that by reason of the IMF program, they needed to impose VAT on electricity.
Yes.
And only had to withdraw when Ghanaians started raising issues. And I have no doubt in mind that in the unlikely event of voting for Bawumia, this tax will be brought back. I have no doubt at all in my mind. Randy, the other thing is, by reason of this particular thing, do you know the quarterly review tariff,
yes,
electricity? In fact, yesterday, the Republic Day, Akufo-Addo and Bawumia gave us a Republic Day gift by increasing electricity and water beyond 3%. That is the gift they decided to give us on our Republic Day. That is by reason of the IMF program. We are also talking about the issue of mopping up liquidity in the system. And you see, Randy, the question you are asking is, just the 2024 budget, we're supposed to raise not less than 11 billion Ghana cedis in taxes. This is a government that, whilst in opposition, preached to us that we're going to move the Ghanaian economy from taxation to production. What has been the scorecard? This government has taken more taxes from the ordinary Ghanaian, from businesses, than all administration put together. Tax revenue alone, last year, Randy, do you know, last year alone, total tax generated by GRA was 113 billion Ghana cedis. That's how much tax was taken from the ordinary Ghanaian. Beyond the fact that by reason of restructuring the debt owed to Ghanaians, both domestic and whatever, persons who bought bonds, treasury bills and others lost 61 billion Ghana cedis by way of principal and interest. That was the haircut, the value of the haircut that ordinary people suffered in this country. And when you put all this together, you come and sit here and say you are doing better. You are gaslighting the people. You are gaslighting the people. People are going through pain. The DDEP that was undertaken by your government since 1966, which government has undertaken a DDEP? You have done that. People have lost money beyond 60 billion Ghana cedis. This was interest payment on principal that they would have earned. For the first time in the history of this country, we saw a retired Chief Justice of the Republic go on demonstration. In fact, she described the DDEP as something akin to military governments. That is how she described it. And you are telling us that we should applaud you because you have done what? What exactly have you done? You have brought more pain to our people. And Randy, you see, the shocking part is that I recall one of the perspectives that they sent when they were going for the Eurobond, right, was the fact that they were going to, or Ghana was going to produce crude oil and will be doing 500,000 barrels annually. And, daily, sorry. So that convinced, the Eurobond, the holders to purchase our bonds. It turned out to be 419. We've not done 200,000 barrels per day since. And so it was obvious. Use deception to get people to buy your bonds. And the end result is disaster. What you demonstrate is humility. You look Ghanaians in the face. And I was listening to the finance minister the other day when he was in London. He said, the day after, the dollar will come down. What the finance minister doesn't know is that people don't see him to be credible. The market is not responding to his rhetorics. What is the exchange rate today? It's been more than a week when he gave us the assurance that within a day, the dollar will start coming down. What is the rate today? It's simply because the current managers of the economy do not have the benefit of credibility. They are not persons of credit. Nobody takes their word for anything. Now you are telling me that you have made a savings of $4.5 billion by raising of the arrangement with our creditors. Even $13 billion of Eurobond could not salvage the economy. 4.5 billion. Randy, do you know that as we speak now, the same finance minister with his lawyers are preparing $2 billion worth of loan from South Korea?
Yes.
So you go for a savings of 4.5 billion, and what do? Go and borrow additional $2 billion. They are also looking at taking almost 1 billion from Afri-Exim. So within this same space, you want to get almost $3 billion. What exactly are you guys doing to the economy? And you see, Randy, do you know why they are desperate for the next 6 months to go for all those loans? To have a replica of what COVID gave them in 2020. So you see, you notice that in 2020, by reason of COVID-19, we got 1 billion from the rapid credit facility. We got another 1 billion, the special drawing rights. And by the time we're done, we had raised almost $4 billion. So they are desperate to get the same fiscal space for election purposes. What kind of people are you? You have destroyed people's livelihood. And all your mind is to win an election, and to buy the mandate of the people. Once I was on this show, very, very respected people sent me messages. Even some of their bonds, they can't get the payment. Now, Randy, look at the situation where you have decided to live your life well. You have enough money. Instead of going out there and enjoying, you decided to buy government instruments.
There's picketing at the Ministry of Finance as we speak. Yeah.
Perfect. Because of the traditional notion that government securities are more, they are more secured. So instead of spending the money, you decided to buy government bonds. You wake up one morning, the same government tells you that we are bankrupt. And you sit here and say,
what? That's the truth. We are bankrupt.
Yes, but the point is, how did we get to this bankrupt stage? The most resource administration, because you decided to engage in, wastage. Waste. Today, you, my brother Paul Green, can you go and stand at the National Cathedral site and encourage young people of this country that you have done something worth celebrating? Can you do that? You are even a Christian, a missionary, for that matter.
Hey, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, Lighthouse. He was where both.
I saw him at my church last Sunday.
Can you, in all good conscience, do that? And you were talking about legacy debt. I think, you see, sometimes I listen to you communicators of the MPP, and I say, is it that you have no benefit of, say, respecting us? I recall vividly, in 2015, December, when H.E. John Dramani Mahama brought the Energy Sector Levies Act, primary responsibility, how to repay the legacy debts owed. Randy, do you know how much ESLA from 2015 had given this administration? In excess of 10 billion Ghana cedis. Go and check. And what have you used that money for? You borrowed at the back of ESLA PLC. And what became of the money? Did you use it to settle the debt owed, the IPPs? Never. In fact, when you look at what they use the bond for, Randy, consumption. This administration is what Ewes called Madumaku Yediu. Nothing useful. Can you tell me in good conscience what you can look Ghanaians in the face and said, we borrowed $13 billion of Eurobond. We use it for A, B, C, D. Can you do that? That is what governance is about. And when you got the opportunity, you wasted it. Akufo-Addo is what you describe. I don't know.
Okay.
The opportunity and the fact that you people decided to, as it were, destroy that opportunity. Today, at the end, Randy, we are battling with exchange rate in the region of 15 Ghana cedis to $1. We are dealing with unemployment rate beyond 14% from 8%. We are dealing with youth unemployment specifically from 21% in 2016 to 32% today. Incidentally, Randy, if you look at the living standards conversation, it is curious that the region with the highest unemployment rates is Northeast, where the flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, comes from. The last time he promised a watermelon factory, I understand it is in production now. What we should all appreciate is the fact that when you are given much, much is expected of you.
Right.
And in this particular case, what we have gotten is the regrettable use of our public funds to fund Akufo-Addo's corruption.
Right. Okay.